Okay, everybody. Hope you're well. Thank you for being here. We're going to be talking about a couple of things tonight, and something very, I guess, anticipated is probably the best way to explain it, being that technology is doing what it's doing. But let's talk first, before we get into that, about emotionally, mentally, physically holding on to what may not be working any longer, and how allowing what doesn't work to continue to guide us, to continue to consume us, prevents us from seeing what is working. You know, we talk about physically, arms out, holding on to something, physically holding something, and not being able to embrace something because our hands are full. Well, in this case, where you see holding on for dear life, right, let's lift ourselves up. Let's not let go. Let's lift ourselves up and then open up to embrace what is working, what is now being identified as success going forward. And we have to understand that technology is moving at the speed of light, not even the speed of sound. It impacts us in our life, not only in work and play, but now in even food, as I've witnessed, and Rachel and I have experienced this last couple of weeks, and then today there was an incredible report that I'll be sharing with you. So are you simply open to acknowledging that there is a change going on that is defining going forward what is success? You have to be open-minded to say, and if you're not acknowledging it, then that's 90% of the battle. Your hands are full. You can't embrace something if you're not open-minded to the fact that what once worked well is not working nearly as well, and all those things that are going on technologically related going forward are exactly what is happening in the form of success and identifying trends, markets, and opportunity. So 2 weeks ago, Rachel and I were at Chili's restaurant here in Southern California. We saw this. I had her take a picture of it with her phone because I couldn't believe it. And it's called the Ziosk Kiosk. And what it does is it allows the opportunity for us as diners at Chili's restaurants, and they've implemented this, folks, as of today, and I'll show you the press release in a moment, 845 locations, 45,000 of these units are now in play, where you can order from your table and be able to not even have to deal with a waiter or a waitress. You can even split checks. I mean, this thing is so incredible, and what it's doing is technology, again, is replacing human bodies. And this is a fact. This is now implemented, and so can we agree that things that were once effective are no longer? And let's look at why this is impactful, why this is going to work. The cost savings, the benefits to the restaurant, the owner, the chain, etc., and how the technology ultimately can benefit the consumer. Less wait staff for the employer. The entire wait staff can now be eliminated and expediters added. Now, you know I have a culinary arts background, and I get this, because an expediter is somebody that simply garnishes the plates as they come up and runs the food to the table. Well, now they can have 8 or 10 expediters instead of having 70 wait staff that share different shifts. Less benefits to pay out as less employees, because now some of these locations will fall under the 50 employee rule for the Affordable Care Act mandate. Lower cost of services, and thereby less cost to the consumer as a competitive element, a response to the economy. So if you don't think that, in addition to Chili's, other restaurants are going to have to go this direction, again, you're misguided. Competition is key. If they're able to continue to offer their 3-course meals for $10 a person, and now we don't have to pay a tip, right? Tipping's obsolete there. And they don't have to pay out all the benefits associated with having full-time employees. The errors experienced verbally are diminished because now you've entered it. faster service, which answers a consumer issue because it doesn't need to be verbalized to a waitstaff and then entered into a system. While you're waiting for a waiter or waitress to come to the table, you could have already had your order in instead of waiting for them to bring you your ice water with lemon, your first cocktail, whatever it is, right? And that whole process. Here's the press release. This was you can find this on Chili's website, and it was released today. 45,000 units. This year is now they're where's my glasses? Here we go. Excuse me. They're saying the Chili's and Ziosk complete installation of the largest tabletop tablet network in the United States. Over 45,000 units placed by today. Well, is it not safe to assume that, understanding competition and how it works, that restaurants that fit the same market as Chili's, Outback, Sizzler, and the list goes on, right? Olive Garden, what's some of the other ones? I mean, there's a whole host of them. Don't you think that Ziosk is going to be appealing to them for the cost savings that they're going to experience as well, and the ultimate consumer experience? So who is it that we know that is going to be impacted by this? All servers should be concerned as to what's going on and to their long-term employment. And by us explaining to them, by showing them this, might they be inclined to doing something about their immediate future, knowing that as they continue to work for their employer, they're causing those profits experienced by their efforts to buy out their position. Well, let's look at it another way. What if we went to the owners of these restaurants prior to them implementing this new technology, and they proactively offered Jasuru and our business opportunity to those waiters and waitresses that are ultimately going to be out, and they offer this as a safety net, explaining to them that, hey, we care about you. You've been here forever. We want you to have something. And we did this the other day in South Florida with the call center. While the owner of the call center himself didn't believe that the call center itself could benefit from Jasuru's business model, he did admit that he had no health benefits for any of his employees. And by us offering this, and him being the one offering it to all of his employees as a gift, which he's agreed to do this Thursday, putting 40 to 50 employees in a room for us, isn't that a benefit that the owner, the employer, can offer? And the wonderful part of that is it does help each and every one of them to be able to pay for health insurance, all the other things that we've always talked about and identified. But in addition, it's building a thriving business for that business owner, which maybe he then can do some very fun things, cool things with those profits, those proceeds, back to the employee base. Because when they go home, because his message is going to be, I don't want you here 20 years from now answering phones. So when they go home and they build their Jasuru business, aren't they also building his business then? Right? So these stats were taken off of the United States Department of Labor. And what I did was I blew it up on the next page so it's easier to see. The Bureau of Labor Statistics states that 4.4 million waiters and waitresses in the United States as of 2 years ago, growing at a rate of 12%. 4.5 million people making about $18,400 per year on average. And they're out of jobs in the near future. Well, at least we know that 845 restaurants as of today are employing these kiosks and reducing their overhead dramatically by getting rid of their staff. So a trend. I mean, this is smacking us in the head. And I didn't know this release was coming out today. I just got home yesterday from South Florida. And Rachel and I had dinner at Chili's 2 weeks ago, and we saw this, and we took pictures of it. And when I went today to build this presentation, and I saw on their website that this was a press release today, it hit me smack between the eyes. This technology is being embraced and implemented dramatically. So what's going to happen to those 4.4 million people? And how could our Jusuru business model help them? That's what I want you to think about. Okay, who is it that you know that's in food service? And invite them to take a look. And if you want these slides from today, email me, mike.lattuca@yahoo.com. I'll send you the presentation. It's all factual-based information off of the Department of Labor's website, as well as Chili's headquarters site. And show it to them. Okay, so enough about the servers right now. What I want to go into is I want to show you what I've come up with in the last 4 to 5 months as it relates to how to go after organizations, churches, charities, doctor's offices, restaurants, hair salons, in what I believe is an extremely effective way. So the mission statement here on how to implement our Jusuru business model to service-related industries via those managers and owners, okay, the mission statement is to present how any service-related business can plug into our model effectively, utilizing their current model, yielding in addition a residual income as opposed to their current transactional income. Okay, do we understand what that means? Transactional income is you do a service, you get paid, period, you're done. Real estate, close escrow on a home, you get your check, you're done. You got to go find another house. You're unemployed until the next one. Transactional income is what we're trying to get away from and benefiting from residual income where we're paid 6 years from now for what we did 2 years ago. That's the direction that we're going. So let's go ahead and talk about a hair salon first of all. Use the recession script with the owner. Sally, the recession has impacted my family and I so deeply. We are so frustrated as making ends has never been more difficult. Has the recession impacted you or your business in even the slightest of ways? The reason I use this one, being a hair salon, is because I had specific conversation with an owner who said what's happening is people are still getting their hair done, but they're stretching it out far longer. Instead of getting a haircut for men every 4 to 5 weeks, it's now every 7, 8, and 9 weeks. Women are getting their hair colored. Instead of being every 4 weeks, it's now every 6 or 7 weeks. So they're getting the services done, they're just spreading it out. Well, if you take that additional time in between haircuts over a year, you're looking at about 4 less services per person. So Sally, what would your financial outlook be today if you had received $1 every single month for every haircut that had ever happened in the salon? And this, guys, you can relate this to any other service too. Nails, right? Massage therapy. Would you be open to learning what is making financial sense in a time when very little is? Explain the meeting opportunity, 3-way call with a partner, your upline, perhaps getting them to a presentation locally or getting them to a webinar. But then it goes on. To implement this opportunity, after you've gotten a yes that they want to hear more, Sally, if we were to do a presentation for all of your stylists, and they all enrolled too, as directed, right, leveraged, or desired, and all of them were benefiting you, wouldn't that be interesting? Let's talk about that for a minute. If Sally, being the owner, went to them and said, I don't want you guys cutting hair for me for 20 years. I want you to start building a thriving business from home that pays you month after month for everything you did months ago. And she shared with them the same analogy that if you got paid $1 for every haircut you've ever done, regardless if they ever come back, every month you got $1. What would your financial outlook look like? Okay? Sally, all of them can simply have some brochures set up on their stations that while their customers are in the chair, they can read. Some may want to display products too. The benefit for you, Sally, is huge. With your 7 stations, how many people a day, week, month sit in those chairs? And what if 25% wanted to try the products? And what if 10% of those wanted to earn extra money? Okay? Because here's the best part, is when the employees go home and they're working their Jusuru business, they're building their business, yes, but aren't they also building Sally's? So this gets Sally excited to cause her to leverage and use her salon for nighttime meetings, have parties. And Sally, don't worry. We're going to be monitoring and managing 100% of this because you're busy. All we need you to do is plug us in place with your people and allow us then to teach them and train them after hours when they're out of here how exactly to do this. Okay, so now let's talk about a church as an example. Using the recession script for the pastor, the decision maker. Pastor, so many of us have been deeply impacted by the recession in such horrible ways. Has the church been impacted? Is tithings down? Wait for the answer. You know what the answer is. Do you believe, Pastor, that the congregation too has been financially impacted? Do you know the answer to that? If I made a statement, Reverend, that we found something in a time when it appears nothing financially is working, that in fact is working and providing wonderful results for us and our families, might you be interested in hearing more? Reverend, understanding you see value now, how many in the congregation might too benefit, in your view, should this make financial sense for them in helping them get through this recession? While personally we all get to benefit financially, and this is wonderful as it helps in a time when help is needed most, we could structure this effectively to cause the church itself to also be a recipient and have those funds come directly to the church under its 501c3 tax-exempt status. Can I share more on how this process might work for you? Most of the time, putting a pastor above the church causes issues. Putting the pastor under the church in our genealogy seems more appealing to the pastor as well, as they feel that they too are helping the church instead of being a beneficiary of the church. It's a very important part because the church feels this way. Other business owners don't. Okay, I would not suggest the other being the pastor on top unless they mention it. Always offer the church first. Have the pastor identify 6 to 10 church leaders so that we can present to. Isn't that what we need structurally for the church? 6 strong legs? And if we have leaders of the church in those positions, aren't they going to direct the flock, the congregation? And isn't that going to benefit those individuals and also the church ultimately? Of course it is. So finally, let's talk about the doctor's office, medical, dental, rehabilitation. The recession was bad enough having impacted so many. Now with the Affordable Health Care Act, do you see financially things getting worse for your practice? Sit back and listen. Invite them to a 3-way call with somebody who is in healthcare on your team. So many physicians are fearing the same, and we have found something that is being so well received by the medical community, doctors, healthcare professionals, in a time where the uncertainty is escalating. Can I share exactly what it is that we are doing and how helping these healthcare professionals to generate an incredible income shows even them as doctors and physicians a light at the end of the tunnel? Doctor, what would your financial outlook look like if you were paid $10 every single month from every patient that has ever walked in your doors, regardless if you ever had to treat them again? What if we could utilize your staff to assist us in this effort that would allow you to only recommend our products and not have to add to your workload one bit? Would that be of interest? We would identify those in your staff that too would be interested via a meeting specifically for them with your blessing, of course, and it would be best if you were in attendance to support this effort. We would then populate under you all the staff that are in agreement, okay, that also agree that things are getting far worse. And this is a way out of the current environment over time. We're already doing this in large ways throughout our Jusura business. This is just breaking it down so you can have an understanding. And for the doctor or the owner of the practice, your office manager would be key in all of this. We would be they would be placed immediately under you and have a distinct advantage over all others because they're going to manage the entire operation because we're going to train them. With our constant support and supervision, we're going to have them manage your entire business. This prevents you from having to deal with the details as you're already time committed with patients. Basically, we're removing the minutia. The doctors don't want to deal with it to begin with. They've got enough going on in seeing patients and understanding how they're going to get paid, that if we could take some of that, all of that responsibility, spread it out over employees that are already paid, the doctor's going to be very open to this. The best part of this, doctor, is your team leaves this office every day. And when they do going forward, they will be talking to friends and family, as we are. And that too will benefit you 100% while not on your payroll. Okay? Now, the doctor retains 33% of his referrals of patients as personally sponsored by the doctor. The doctor gives sponsorship of 33% to the office manager, who has a vested interest in managing perfectly the doctor's business. Because 33% of all the recommendations from the doctor are going to go to the office manager. The rest, the other 34% of those sponsorships will be divided equally under the remaining management staff making up the other 5 legs for that doctor. Okay, guys, what we're doing is, we're not sitting back and just hoping to sign people up. We're strategically going after markets. We're going after industries because the recession is crushing businesses. It's crushing 4.5 million servers are going to now be frantic once they hear about this. What are they going to do? How about the doctors that have been treating us for so many years that now are getting paid a fraction of what they once were and spending more time with patients? This is an extremely viable opportunity for anybody and everybody. What's the message? Get out of the box. Get creative. Start thinking. Take these scenarios. If you know somebody that owns restaurants, tell them to put the joint health or the business opportunity flyers on their tables and put their name on the back of them with their phone number. Think of how many people will be impacted from that. If somebody you know owns a yogurt shop, tell them to have their cups printed, which they're printed anyway, but have them add on their Jusura website self-replicated address. Pizza boxes, they're printed. Have them add that self-replicated website. I mean, there's so many things. Who owns a delicatessen that can have the bags printed with a message? There are so many things that we could be doing that help us get out of the box and become creative. And this is just what I've been working on for the last 7 months. I think, and having seen the results, because here's the bigger game on this right now. Go to employers that you know. You may have family members that own companies. You may have family members that own companies where they have over 50 employees, and they will cut those back that they can to under 30 hours to bypass the Affordable Care Act in January next year, to avoid having to buy them health care insurance. They're going to. They're going to have to. And here's the example. If you're IBM and you agree to do that because you want a competitive element over Dell, Toshiba, Sony, Acer, and all the other computer companies, aren't they going to have to follow suit? And don't you believe that not having to pay for health care, 401k, additional Social Security benefits, right? All of those things that a full-time employee gets currently that they're not going to get. Think about what that means to the bottom line of the company. Isn't that company going to explode in profit? So I expect that the stock market in December will be projecting what's going to happen first quarter of 2015, and you'll see incredible results, high yields as a result. But all of those people are going to be reduced down from 40 to 29 hours. They're going to lose their health care, their 401k, and now we have a chance to share with them individually how to build monthly, so when that does happen, they've got an answer. But what if we know somebody that owns these companies, and they have to do it to stay competitive? They have to do it. What if you went to that person that owns that company and said to them, as we did last week with this call center in South Florida, what if you went to them and said, listen, you're about to screw your employees to the wall by reducing their hours, taking away their benefits. How about proactively you allow us to meet with them on your behalf? You introduce us by saying you care enough about your employees, you know this is coming down the pike, you want to be able to help them now, preemptively, in being able to replace that income so that they can ultimately afford their health care insurance. They can ultimately not skip a beat from loss of income from 40 hours to 29. Right? What if we could do that? You should have seen the reaction from the gentleman at the call center that owns it. He said, not only is he going to open it up for us to meet with those 40 to 50 employees, he was going to buy lunch for everybody because it's going to gain incredible loyalty from his staff. We've drafted the message that he's going to read to his staff or commit to memory that'll make him look like a superstar in being able to think out of the box, offering us up to help. And again, the best part is, when they go home after they punch out, aren't they still working for him? And what we're going to do is teach them how to get those benefits, how to create enough income so that in 6 months to a year from now, they can look at their Jasuru check and their paycheck and decide if they want to stay at that thankless job or if they want to pursue this full-time, being Jasuru with us. Okay, guys? That's what I got. I hope you like it. And I think we're on to something. As witnessed this past week, it was so well received. We took a dead no meeting. It was no. And we turned it around by my asking one question. What quality of benefits do you offer your employees currently? Oh, we don't offer them anything. How would you like to at no cost to you? And from there, we had not only an incredible, successful balance of our meeting, where he's opening up 6 to 8 other call centers around the country to do exactly the same thing, which again, all fall where? Under him. So each call center will be one of his legs. Each call center will have 6 supervisors as the management of that team. And isn't that where the leverage is? Okay, guys, out of the box thinking. Thanks so much for being here.